Hey guys, it's Appleminte. Welcome back again to my channel. If there's two things I love, it's Pokemon and magical girls. So I figured for today's video, why not combine the two? I asked you guys in my Discord server and my community tab some of your favorite Pokemon, and I got tons of responses, so I picked some of the ones that I was seeing pop up the most. As for what I will be coloring this video with today, you guys might remember that Bianyo kindly sent me 312 markers. You guys can watch that video where I go over all of them and use them in the description below. I will link that. Anyway, I will be using these markers to color for today. I'm really excited to do another piece of art with these since I do have so many colors. And specifically, Amazon Prime Day is actually coming up. So if you wanted to get yourself a set of these markers, this set right here specifically is the classic set of 72 markers. It's the bullet nib set. If you want to get yourself a set, they will soon be up for Amazon Prime Day, and I will have all of those links in the description box below, so keep an eye on that so you can get these on a discount. Like I said in my last video with them, I really enjoyed using them, so you really can't go wrong with these. It's a nice affordable set of markers. So thank you again to Bianyo for sending me all these. I'm really excited to color with them today. Anyway, let's get into designing some magical girls. So as I mentioned, I put out a post asking you guys what your favorite Pokemon was for science, of course. And I chose some of the most popular ones that I kept seeing pop up. So this first one that I'm drawing is Sylveon. And at first I was hesitant to do this one actually, because even though it was one of the most popular ones you guys were saying that was your favorite, at the same time, I know that I've personally seen a lot of human versions of Sylveon on the internet, specifically not necessarily drawn as magical girls, but drawn in a style that kind of reminds me of one. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't just kind of making something that looked like all the others. So I did my best to not look up any humanized Sylveon online, because the last thing I wanted to do was take influence from something else and then just draw a copy of that. If it happens to look like someone else's interpretation, disclaimer, I didn't look any up, so that's just going to be a pure coincidence. But anyway, for her pose, I wanted to make her have a classic kind of almost like, I think Sailor Moon does this pose or something similar to this, with her hand up in the air and other hand on hip. And I guess now that I think about it, she has twin tails as well. That was not intentional, but I think Sylveon kind of lends itself to a more magical girl style in general because of all the ribbons that it has in its design in the first place. So creating it into what it was kind of in my head of making it really frilly and girly and magical looking wasn't too difficult, honestly. I had a much easier time with this one than I did designing the next one. But anyway, for her, I didn't specifically design her to have any sort of magical girl weapon or staff or anything, because to me she seemed more like the type that would just have like innate magic. She just has magic powers and she can use them on command. So for the actual markers, I want to talk about them for a little bit, since I did mention them in the beginning, but I want to give you a few more details on them in case you're interested. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the 72 set of classic colors is one of the sets that will for sure be going as part of the Amazon Prime Day sale. And if you guys are familiar with Prime Day, it's one of the best days on the internet, let me just tell you. If you haven't shopped Prime Day, or your online shopping addiction hasn't yet begun, then let me just fast track you immediately to having a problem. No, I'm kidding. I'm a terrible influence. Do not listen to me. But yeah, Amazon Prime Day is basically like a day or two of when Amazon has amazing sales and a ton of stuff goes on sale. And I love sales because it's basically like being paid to shop. I mean, that's really how we can justify it, to make ourselves feel better about spending money. They're paying us to save money, really. Yeah, that's how you have to think about it to not feel bad. But anyway, the 72 set of markers will be on sale, and they are the bullet nibs. And so in this specific piece, I'm going back and forth in using some of their bullet nibs. I'm also mixing in a few of the brush nibs for some of the wider areas. But the bullet nibs are honestly great for small detail. it also has a chisel nib end on the other side. Like almost every marker I own actually has a chisel nib on the other end. I don't know of any marker that I own that doesn't. So there's not much to say about the chisel nib, but in terms of the ink flow on these and the range of colors and just the way they work on paper, I'm very happy with these sets that I've tried from Bianyo, and I've tried quite a lot of marker brands. So for me to say that I really like a set and would recommend taking a look at it, you know, I try to be positive about everything I try, but I'm being genuine. I really do like this set. So I would definitely recommend to go take a look at it on Amazon Prime Day, which I believe is June 21st and June 22nd this year. I'll have all the links in the description box below, so you can check it out for yourself and make a choice if you want to purchase these or some of their other sets that they'll also have on sale. I believe they have a 36 set, and then of course they have brush sets and larger sets of bullet nibs, everything. So you can check all that out. I will leave all of the links in the description below. But as you can see, I've made my Sylveon girl very bright and very pink. I wanted to give her hair a gradient since Sylveon does have a lot of mostly pink and white, but then the blue accents. So I figured to add that into the hair as well, which I will say, these markers did gradient pretty well. The paper I'm using is Canson Mixed Media XL paper, so it's decent for marker blending. It's obviously not going to be as good for blending as actual marker paper since this is mixed media, but overall I think it does a great job, especially with these markers. So that's my interpretation of my Sylveon girl. I hope you like how she came out. She's very sparkly and magical, of course. And now on to the next magical girl. So this next one that I'm drawing is actually one of my favorite Pokemon. I remember I always had this one on my team when I played. I think this one came out in Generation 5, I believe. So from then on, I always made sure to have this Pokemon on my team, and that is Chandelure. And I absolutely love Chandelure in general, and so I was really excited to change her into a magical girl form. But as you can see, I've changed quite a few details, like with the hair specifically, and a bunch of little details like the middle, the belt, and her headpiece and all that. And I know it doesn't show in this sketch because I have it down to a 45-second sketch, but I sat here for like a good 2 hours just staring at it, like not knowing where I wanted to go with it. And ultimately, what I settled upon, I really, really like for her design, but it took me quite a while to get there. Some of them come a little easier, like Sylveon took a lot less time to sketch out because I already kind of knew in my head where I wanted it to go and how I wanted the parts on Sylveon to translate to an outfit. But Chandelure was a lot harder because I just wasn't sure what type of outfit I wanted to give her at first, but ultimately what I settled upon I ended up really liking, and so I guess I couldn't be happier with how her design came out, though I will say her sketch that I'm drawing here on the actual paper that I'm going to be coloring and all that with my markers, I ended up changing her facial expression from what you see now, and I think I changed it for the worst. I think I liked it better before I changed it, but you know, you can't always be perfect. So if I had to redraw her again, I'd probably change her facial expression to be a little more serious and a little less wonky, but sometimes that happens. I will say that you'll notice, or maybe you'll notice, I'm using actually a different paper than I was in the first drawing because I thought I'd change it up and try it out, but I actually ended up not liking this paper. This is a little bit too thick in my opinion for marker, and just, I don't know, for even the sketch in general, you know, I'm somebody that I'll sketch stuff and then I'll want to erase and change my mind on things. It was showing some of my mistakes and I couldn't get rid of them as easily, and also some of the paper would get a little torn up, making it so a little bit harder even to erase without ruining things. So I was having difficulty with this paper. I think ultimately what I end up coming out with is good for the paper, like what I was working with. But if I had to use this notebook again, this sketchbook again for marker work, I don't think I would. I think I would stick to colored pencil in this one. So that's just a side note that I want to point out. But anyway, As you can see, I'm using the bullet nib to color her skin area because, like I mentioned, the bullet nib is pretty good for detail areas. Whereas when I'm doing larger areas, I prefer to use a brush nib just because it covers more area faster. And also there's, of course, the more ease of blending when you use a brush nib. But for Chandelure's design, I wanted to have mostly whites and blacks. Although with white, I didn't actually keep it to white for the most part. Like for her hair, I'll end up using a very, very, very light warm gray because I didn't want it to be just white. I wanted it to be a little bit of something on it, so it wasn't just blending it with the paper. But in terms of the colors, the pops of color, Chandelure has some purple and blue in its flame on top of its head and arms since it's a little chandelier. And so I wanted to incorporate that into some of the background details, being that bottom part of her dress, which I will color shortly, as well as make her hair a gradient to match the flame a little bit. And as you can see, I ended up settling on, for her, I guess I want to call it her belt area. It's not a belt, but like it's on her waist area. I ended up settling on something that mimics the face of Chandelure. Originally in my sketch before, you might have seen me doing something with a ribbon or a bow, and I just wasn't sure what to do there. And then it dawned on me, wait, I can totally incorporate the face here. So I really kind of patting myself on the back a little bit for that, just saying. God, I feel so conceited saying that. But anyway, yeah, I really like that decision. And for her staff, instead of making her like, I guess, inherently magical powers like Sylveon, I gave her a staff. And I figured it would be cute to put the head of Chandelure on the edge, on the end of the staff, which now kind of sounds a little bit grim that I say it out loud, but we'll just pretend it's just a staff. It's not a real Chandelure. We didn't decapitate. No Chandelures were harmed during the making of this, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, this video was a lot of fun to do. I absolutely love drawing magical girls and making up outfits, and Pokemon are one of my favorite things ever. So this video, I don't know how I haven't done this sooner. I really had a great time designing these and coloring them. And thank you again to Bianyo for giving me this amazing set of markers, just so many colors to choose from. And again, I'll leave all of those links in the description below so you guys can check them out for Amazon Prime Day. So as always, I have all of my links in the description box below as well. I have the link to my online store, my Patreon pin club, my Discord server, and my Instagram page. All that's there as always. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful, amazing weekend. And I will see you guys all next Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time as always. Bye bye!